Just as agriculture appears to have developed independent in several parts of the world at roughly the same time, so do waves of centralization. No doubt the one of these early waves most familiar to us is the one centered on Rome. But not long before that, political power had been centralized in China. But long before that, some of these centralized structures remained in existence for long periods of time. Others overextended themselves and collapsed. In the Americas, a little less than 1,000 years ago, some amazingly successful centralized structures were being assembled by the Aztecs, Mayas, and Incas. And these perhaps would have gone far and lasted long had they themselves not been absorbed by that most successful wave of centralization emanating out of Western Europe, starting in 1492 with Columbus's invasion of America. In some ways, the centralizing wave coming out of Western Europe appears, like other previous and similar waves, to have overextended itself and collapsed. For the last 200 years, nationalist movements followed by revolutions have reduced those European empires back to nations, but that has principally been a political collapse. Centralization is in no way limited to political power, at least not anymore. Toward the end of the 18th century, a rapid sequence of technological developments took place in Europe, which has been called the Industrial Revolution. This revolution has had an enormous effect on immediate human history, thoroughly comparable with that of the invention of agriculture, though very much faster. Man, the hunter, very recently having learned to farm, has now learned to build and run a machine, and along with it has learned to withdraw energy from the biosphere's carbon savings account, fossil fuels. This fossil-fueled machine has provided the hunter with a new, enormously powerful tool and weapon. The Industrial Revolution was built on centralization, but it has bred centralization as well. It has been the force which produced the wave, which we are desperately trying to stay on top of now. This wave has encountered almost no opposition. Who remembers the Luddites? It has swept the world in the mere instant of 200 years, and everywhere that it has passed, it has wrought such changes that it will never be forgotten. The Industrial Revolution, which started in England long before, moved its center to the United States, which in the most recent past has been the world's paragon of centralization and its blessings. There was a brief moment around 1930 when it looked as if the wave might have overextended itself, but with the boost of a world war and still another revolution, the Green Revolution, this wave of centralization was soon reaching still greater heights. From the center of this departing wave, the sight has been pleasing enough. The wave has been called development and progress, and viewed with a feeling of lofty altruism. The term economic imperialism has been little understood. From the far shores, the waves has been perhaps just as attractive, but not to the decentralist. For 4 of the last 5 years, I have watched the wave arrive in remote coves. In a brief 3 years, electricity, a paved road, and television arrived in a tiny town in the northeast of Brazil, a town which had been nearly as self-sufficient and decentralized as a medieval European town. In Venezuela, I have seen the primitive potters again lower their traditional prices and tighten their belts in a hopeless effort to compete with fossil-fueled aluminum. The world seems to be being absorbed into one vast, centralized, man-made system, and one hears very little complaint. In that Brazilian town, those who had their televisions in time watched men land on the moon and enjoyed the sight. Certainly worth the sacrifice of some potters. No, decentralist though I may be, I cannot claim that centralization has been unwelcome. It and the trinkets it has brought have taken this world by storm, a most successful human experiment so far. Again, that's a good place to stop for today. I hope you come back. Bye now.